You know, if you look for it, every day has a cause for celebration. We're celebrating every week, recording our favorite podcast. Celebrate yourself for keeping the couch warm. Or maybe you just want to celebrate living in 2022 where you can get a beer, wine, and spirits delivered from Drizzly in under 60 minutes without leaving said couch. Right now, Drizzly is giving all new customers $5 off their first order with the code FAST5. Recently, I've been using Drizzly every week with my broken ankle, mainly for its convenience of shopping across stores so you can choose from a huge selection. Benefit? Get exactly what you want at the best price. So download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com and use promo code FAST5 for $5 off your first order.
Don't sleep on the newest innovations in wellness, or maybe do. Introducing Force Factor's Somnipure. Only at the Vitamin Shoppe, the new Somnipure line of drug-free sleep aids includes a muscle recovery formula to help you relieve sore muscles and improve sleep quality. Plus, for the first time ever at the Vitamin Shoppe, an easy-to-drink, fast-acting liquid solution with melatonin and natural botanicals to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling refreshed. Sleep stronger with Somnipure at vitaminshoppe.com or the Vitamin Shoppe store near you.
What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. I'm your host, Steve V. This is episode 349 alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Joined also with us today is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell are you, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. Unpacking and getting this house together, honey.
Nice. Good to hear.
Yes.
Well, it's Monday when we record this, Monday, March 21st. And you guys, I went out. As you guys all know, I broke my ankle, but I'm on the mend. Everything's going great. I'm starting to walk step by step, literally. And it's all going well. I think I prefaced on an earlier show that I had my old college buddy in town who can get a little crazy, and I was having a little anxiety attacks leading up to it. I just was, because he's so much fun, and we used to be partners in crime when we went to college. We lived together. We were workout buddies. We were go-go dancers, and he just doesn't quit. Jeremy, you've met him before, and
yeah, he's like an Energizer bunny, especially when he's like visiting your town and like area.
Gotta get it in.
Exactly. But I was having anxiety because it was like my first guest. And anyways, I think he got the picture when he saw me that it was a little worse. It helped that his fiance, I guess, broke his ankle as well. Not like maybe a few years ago. And he knew the process of how long it takes to heal and mend a broken ankle. So he was totally understanding. Thank God. And I said, well, I'll totally go to dinner. We had a great, fabulous dinner at a Peruvian restaurant here in town. I said I would go to the classic Monster, which was a lot of fun, I have to say.
Love the Monster.
Yeah. The funny thing is we go in, it's packed, and it's like 8:15 or 8:30 at night on a Saturday night, but it's totally packed. With the only seats, we got me a stool by the piano, and wouldn't you know it, I'm sitting right in front of the piano, and all of a sudden they start singing Adele, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I had to fake it. I had to fake it to make it and act like I was totally into it. Someone Like You is being belted.
I knew it.
Belted by, so the pianist is singing it, the male singer singing Adele, Someone Like You, and this girl, straight girl standing next to us, is belting out the lyrics to the song.
God.
Like it's her favorite song on the planet. Like she lived what Adele lived. She is feeling it, moving her body, and I'm like, girl, do not touch me. Do not touch me, girl, because we're gonna have a problem over here. I did not. I was the crazy thing about the whole thing is we look a little closer over at her, and she's reading the lyrics off of her phone. So she like looked up Google the lyrics of the song. So I'm like, how are you going to belt out this song like it's your song practically, and you don't really know all the lyrics? You had to like read them off your
And the
phone.
lyrics aren't that complicated to that
They're
damn
not
song.
that. I mean, I practically know the lyrics, and so she kept looking down, and then she's like going crazy. I'm like, she acted like she was this major fan of this song, and she doesn't know it would be like for me if it was a Madonna song, and then I'm like, let me just look up Material Girl just
Oh
to
my
see it,
God.
so I get it right. And it would be like my friends would slap me,
Yeah.
put that phone down. Oh, it was nuts. I will have you know that I was home on a Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. I told my friend, I am done. This was good enough. This is a great start, but I was so happy to be home, but I had a great time. Sent him out. He didn't come home until 8:30 in the morning the next day. Yeah, it was
Nice.
a lot. Yeah. But Jeremy, I heard you went out to the gay bars for the first time in a long while.
Yeah, so we went to I was on a roll Friday, so I got out of work early. I went drinking with a few of my cousins, and then we were like, let's go out in Boston. So I went to Club Cafe, which was a cool like music
Yes.
video club, and that was
Yeah,
my
I
first
love
time.
that.
And then that was my first time there, and then I went to Legacy and saw like a drag show.
Oh.
Fun.
Yeah,
Could
and
you
then
keep up? Could you keep up?
I felt like older than everybody else. Like I honestly could not keep up, and I started drinking at like I think 3 p.m. on Friday.
Oh, that's why.
So by like 10 p.m. I was done.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If you are out of practice, yes, it is like riding a bike, going to a gay bar. How, I mean, I did after a couple drinks get my footing on the bike and was fine in the bar, but it took me a minute. I was having anxiety at first. I was like, oh, mainly like don't step on my boot,
Yeah.
and then it was just so Saturday. I think also because of COVID, people are out and
And
about.
it
Like the
was nice this
Westville,
weekend too.
people were out in strodes. It was ridiculous. It was like a holiday for some. It was also really warmer weather too. So I don't know how it was in Boston, but we were having great weather over
Yeah, Friday
here.
was 70 degrees. That's why like everyone
See,
and their mother was out on Friday night.
yeah, so crazy. Cody, you've been going out, but how was your weekend? We got to get you in
It
there.
was fantastic. It was my friend Andrea. It's a girl. It was her birthday on Friday, and we went out for St. Patrick's Day and on Friday, and I was exhausted all weekend. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky I'm alive right now.
It can, I mean, it does a number on you.
Yeah.
I was Sunday, I just was, in all day watching movies and TV shows and just nurturing myself. It was great, but so much fun. I'm glad I did it. And yay to that. A quick announcement Tuesday, March 29th, coming up a week from this Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're a part of our Patreon community, our Tags Sex Pause community, we are going to be doing our first ever Discord voice chat called Deeper. And if you join at the twink category on our Patreon page and above, you'll be a part of it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be talking about everything. Kodi and I will lead it off,
Yep.
but yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Maybe we can twist Jeremy's arm to join us.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But yes, it will be a lot of fun. You can go to patreon.com/tags podcast and consider joining our Patreon page and supporting the community. Okay, well, we got so many topics to get into.
Let's do it.
The first, this was making the news, and I had to just talk about it. I was laughing at this. Shawn Mendes, you all know Shawn Mendes.
I know her.
Yeah, he posted this whole thing, a video, and he's apparently still trying to heal from his November 2021 split from Camila Cabello. Quote, I think that's the reality. I think that's the reality that kind of hit me. It's like, oh, I'm on my own now, the singer 23 said in a new video posted on Instagram. Now I feel like finally, like he says like a lot, by the way, I'm actually on my own, and I hate that. That's my reality, Mendes, who was sitting at a piano. And you guys, if you watch this video, he's talking to the camera and expressing his sorrow for being alone, essentially. And then he'll do a little piano chord. And then he'll talk over himself, but it's just random riffs on a piano. And I wanted you to vomit when I saw it, just FYI. Mendes, who was sitting at the piano and speaking candidly to the camera, added that he didn't realize, quote, all the shit that comes after a breakup. Really? Which is like, this is him talking, which is like, who do I call when I'm like in a panic attack? Who do I call when I'm like fucking on the edge? He continued. Mendes and Cabela, 25, were first linked in July of 2019 and announced their split last fall with a joint statement. Jeremy, does he just need to kind of grow up, and this is what it's like to be alone, and get with the program that it's not the end of the world, especially with the breakup that happened in November of last year?
Yes, I'm just like, it sounds like he's dwelling a little bit, and I'm like, where are your fucking friends? And where's your new boyfriend already?
Okay.
I mean, we all know you're fucking gay. Ain't nobody got time for her anyways.
Maybe that's why we got the Liberace moment of it all. Him at the piano.
The drama.
I know, the
drama. Anyone that knows Liberace, listening audience, is like he would do little Vegas stints and he would play a little and then chat to the crowd.
It's called dramatic.
Yeah, totally dramatic. I mean, making your own drama music of it all. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Kodi? I bet you're probably a Shawn Mendes
First
fan.
of all, I am here for it. He can call me whenever he has his panic attacks. I'll be waiting by the phone for Shawn Mendes to call. Okay, I will push my boyfriend out the bed and go and answer his phone call. But I agree with Jeremy. He just needs to learn how to be comfortable where he is in his own skin, and the right relationship will come along. And it'll probably be with another man because, like you said, he seems a little gay to me. So, okay, but that's neither here nor there, but okay.
You guys have got to watch this video. It's hilarious. But maybe this will shed a little bit more light on it. A recent Reddit post related not to Shawn Mendes, but asked the question, what's your reason for deliberately remaining single if you currently are? And some of the responses were pretty interesting. Like, the men in my life that I am compatible with aren't single, and I refuse to be in a relationship just to be in a relationship.
Mhm.
So I will patiently and watchfully wait until the right compatible single or poly man crosses my path. I like living life on my own, somebody else wrote.
Right.
Okay. Somebody wrote, not comfortable with my body quite yet. Oh, that's okay. I feel for that.
Yeah.
Somebody amend that. Can't seem to find any guys that just want to talk and want a serious relationship. The NSA scene was having a bad effect on my mental health, so I've decided to stay single and not actively meet anyone. But if the right guy miraculously comes along, perfect, and I'll take it from there. Otherwise, content with living like this. And I love this last comment, as Whoopi Goldberg eloquently puts it, I don't want someone in my house. And I can relate to that one too, because just getting ready for my friend Francisco, who was my college buddy, to come, I was like, oh, let me get this house in order because I get really comfortable by myself. I like a good, I kind of feel like, yes, I do want somebody at some point or just spend some time with, but I want our separate places, I think.
Really?
And yeah, I'm just,
That's
I'm really comfortable with, and spending time when it's right. I mean, I could change my mind, of course, but that's kind of how I feel right now. And I think, to the whole point about Shawn Mendes, you have to really be comfortable with yourself first and foremost, I think, before you can then go into a relationship and bring something to the table. I've gone into relationships before where I was really insecure. I can relate to some of the comments like my body issues and this and that. And those things seeped out into the relationship. I was jealous and things didn't go so great in some of my earlier relationships. So I think now I would just be looking for somebody to make me laugh, I think is where I would be when that time comes. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on this as a single person also on the program? about this Reddit thread. Are you content being single, or are you looking, or is it that important?
I
What's your
feel like
reasons for,
it's definitely on the back burner. I'm not like in a rush because I feel like the pandemic is somewhat coming to an end at the moment. So I feel like everyone's coming out of their shell a little bit in a way. And I'm not like actively searching for anything specific. So I'm just keeping my options open and trying to extend my social, uh, just being a social butterfly a little bit more than I have been, and extending the circle of people that I spend time with.
I'm kind of on the same plan too, because of the pandemic, because of my ankle. So little by little, it's really step by step kind of thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun. It's like a clean slate in many regards, right?
Yeah.
Where you kind of get to, we had this time to really reflect, and maybe we want to pivot and do things a little bit differently this time around. And it's kind of, I'm enjoying it so far as things open up and I'm moving forward. But I'm also like you, it's on the back burner, but on the burner. There's a flame, y'all. Kodi, you, of course, are just moved
Yep.
in. What are your thoughts on when you were single, though? Were
I
you happy, or were you always on the hunt? I don't think you were, though, right?
I had my eyes open, but I was on the hunt more for dick than I was for anything
Okay, I wasn't going to say that because I've gone out with you before, but I'm glad you did.
Facts are facts.
Yeah.
But I think that you just have to wait for things to be right, basically, and that's what I was waiting for. That's why I was single for so long. And when it is right, you know that it's right, and then you take it to the next step, and then things progress how they progress, and you don't really need to be in a certain position or feel. I feel like you just have to be accepting of yourself, and then you can move into a relationship with somebody. I don't think really you should like go into something making sure that you're this perfect person, because you're never going to be a perfect person.
No, and that's such a great testament to what you just said. Honest as well about, it gives us hope. I
Yeah.
think that if many of us are, we're looking for dick half the time, 90% of the time, and you still found somebody on the apps. We're going to be talking a little bit more apps in a little bit, but the fact that you did ultimately, and yes, who is perfect? No one's perfect, and who is 100% there, it's always going to be something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think, but keep it on the burner, everybody. All right, moving on. There is a revival in my old stomping ground hometown of San Francisco to revive gay bathhouses. That's
Ooh,
right.
speaking of
And
on the hunt for dick.
yeah, I'm going to be asking the question in a little bit. Like, do you think bathhouses are still a relevant thing?
Hmm.
But in an effort to create more safe spaces for San Francisco LGBTQ community, Supervisor Raphael Mandelman on Tuesday proposed creating new zoning regulations that would allow for the revival of gay bathhouses. Under Mandelman's proposed legislation, a new zoning category for adult sex venues would be created, making way for such businesses to be permitted in historically LGBTQ affiliated neighborhoods like the
Oh
Tenderloin,
wow.
south of Market, Upper Market, and of course, the Castro. The proposed bill builds off legislation drafted by Mandelman in 2020, which updated stringent city health and safety standards governing commercial adult sex venues that were first imposed in 1984. Why do you ask? Well, it was the height of the AIDS epidemic, and that's why they kind of cracked down on this.
Hmm.
At the time, the city sued operators of gay bathhouses and other consensual adult venues, citing them as a public nuisance and prompting most to close. So he's really on a plan to get this changed. The person writing this story wrote, I should think dealing with the out of control homelessness and lack of affordable housing in San Francisco might be more important than giving gays another smelly and dank place to have sex. Okay, that's a
Well,
little dark.
Georgie.
But maybe, I know, right? But maybe a bathhouse is more lucrative for the city and brings in more tax dollars than an apartment building for poor people. That's a good point, right? I think. Then again, given that, well, anyways, this person goes on to say they're not very kind to San
Yeah.
Francisco, and that you could basically have sex in the streets right now and no one would even care.
Oh, hey,
And
I need
I'm
to
not
plan
sure.
a trip.
It's kind of a dark viewpoint on it. I don't know. Some people in the do you, Jeremy, think that bathhouses are still a thing, creating space for this, or
I mean,
for other
I'm kind
reasons?
of like impartial to it. I feel like for San Francisco, it's literally a part of the like gay history
Mhm.
and culture of the area. And in my opinion, I prefer cruise bars and clubs over bathhouses, but I have nothing against bathhouses or anyone that attends them. And they can definitely be a fun environment. I've been to the one in Chicago, which is like a super
Oh,
well known one. And
can I stop you right there?
yeah,
Because our listener on Discord,
Mhm.
James from Chicago, just posted in our Discord chat on that Cell Block has a great back room. Is that the one that you and I went to, Jeremy? Cell
uh,
Block?
I don't remember that name.
He said there's a back room, and I know we went to two that were next door to each other. One was with a T. I can't remember it
Where
now.
is it?
And
Which?
in Boys Town, I believe.
Let me
We'll have
see.
to find out. Yeah.
Let me see if he's on
Yes,
our
yes,
text.
it was. Yeah,
Cell Block. Okay,
yeah.
yeah. He said the back bar, which is more to your liking, kind of. We went and had fun there. So I hear you, but I hear what you're saying. That essentially, it's part of San Francisco's tradition, and it kind of sounds like what my opinion would be too. Is that why not? I mean, as long as they're
Yeah,
in zoned areas.
it definitely doesn't bother me as much as the commentary from that specific person. I feel like
Nasty
it's
ass
really
bitch.
like nasty and negative, and it's way too judgmental for like
Exactly.
if you like that scene and that's your thing, then go with it and have fun. I mean, who is anyone else to judge someone for the way that they want to pick up guys or meet up with guys?
I love a good bathhouse scene, but I prefer more of a kind of sex club, backroom, cell block type of thing, even better because it's less committal in the fact that you have to not strip all the way
Mhm.
down. And I really love the bars in Europe, for example, because they have back rooms in many of their bars. For example, but take Berlin, you can go to a bar and have a drink. There's videos or maybe porn on the
Mhm.
screens. You can socialize, meet people, and then when you want, you can go in the maze in the back and have some fun. Or I'm thinking of France or of Le Depot, where even better, you can have a drink, you can socialize, you can dance on two separate floors, and then you can go in a maze. There's a dark room, or there's private rooms that are free, by the way,
Ooh.
amongst your fee that you pay to get in.
Mhm.
But still, I mean, it's kind of great bang for your buck for a good night out. But that being said, I've gone to plenty of bathhouses in the past and had a great time, usually in other cities. But I think with if people are going to have new zoning laws in San Francisco, I bet they're going to do it right. They're not going to be, there's so many bathhouses in the states that have been around for so long, but I bet newer ones could say what works, what doesn't work, and create kind of a cool atmosphere. What are your thoughts on this, Cody?
I think that more bathhouses, especially in San Francisco, because it is such an intrinsic part of the gay culture, or it was back in the 70s. And I think it should have a revival. I think if they can do it, like you said, like the clubs that are in Europe, or I've been to some great ones in Canada as well that were so
Oh, St. Catherine Street.
Yeah, in Montreal. Oh my gosh, it was so nice and so wonderful. And I had such a wonderful time meeting and talking to and doing other things with beautiful young men there. So, so I think that if they could do it along those lines, then could be a wonderful thing and it could be great. But I think they should also address the homeless part too. So maybe they could use the funds from the bathhouse to help the homeless people.
Yeah, I agree. And so funny you should mention the Montreal ones. Just don't wear your good diamond earrings when you go into one of those, like I did, and lost one of them as I was getting fucked
Oh my
in one of
God.
the rooms. I know. And you know when you realize that you've lost something like a tiny little diamond earring that you lost it in a bathhouse, are you really going to go back and be like, but no,
No, they'll never find that shit.
That's why I got a light on my phone to find my diamond earring.
It would make a really good scene in a movie, though. Can you imagine? Like, excuse me, don't mind me. I'm just looking for my diamond. Carry on. Oh, you're not doing that right. I thought you were looking for your diamond. I am, but you're not doing that right.
Or can I be next?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I had to say goodbye to that one. But anyways, yeah, don't wear anything valuable when you go to these places, by the way. Okay, moving on. I couldn't help but have to read this next Reddit thread. Was how much do I owe a fuck buddy, a friends with benefits? This guy writes, posted by Evangelico. That's Jelly Co. Evangelico. Isn't that a clever name?
That is cute.
I got to know an older guy. He is my first buddy acquaintance in a mostly sexual manner, and both of us are interested in a regular, more than a one hookup meetings. The sex is great. I really like him as a person. He is very careful with STDs, and I never felt unsafe with him. He lives close by, and we share some hobbies. The one problem I have is that I feel like I owe him something, even though we've never agreed on any of the above, and we never formally committed us to ourselves. Owe him to tell that I want to meet others. Owe him to tell about my emotional situation. Owe him about my sexual energy. And he writes in parentheses, I don't jerk off a lot anymore. Owe him to stay away from dating apps. Owe him to take care of, to take care of my feelings. I inspire in him. And owe him to be ready for it at virtually any time. Child, this is a boyfriend, not a friends with benefits or a fuck buddy. On the other side, I feel like he owes me to what I just pointed out. So I feel stuck. I would like to have 2 or 3 friends or buddies like him. He's busy a lot and can't meet my sexual demands. And when I tell him about my issues, I'm afraid he might be discomforted by the closeness that I developed for him. I'd be embarrassed for that. But when I don't talk with him and look for others, I feel like a cheater, but remain unsatisfied. Also, he will find out what I do because I do owe him to tell him about the STD situation on my side. Yes, I'm extremely jealous. I do like him. I experience my feelings very vividly, but it's nothing I want to act on. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Kodi, what are your thoughts on this? Is he too much in his head? Maybe for starters?
For sure. He should definitely talk to him about maybe potentially becoming a boyfriend, because it already feels like they are in a relationship and they can work out the logistics of what they want that relationship to be on their own. I want to further say you don't owe anybody, a fuck buddy especially, anything except for informational and sexual health and safety. So if you think that you owe them something more, then maybe you want to explore why you feel that way.
Yeah, I have to agree with you too. You don't owe a fuck buddy or friends with benefit any of that. I've had one before, and every time I would go on Scrub, he would hit me up, and maybe 5 out of the 10 times I would hit him back. I mean, it does get a little much when he's blowing, like the minute I would go on Scruff, he would be like, hey, how are you? How have you been? Where have you been? I'd love to see you. That I do feel for this writer that I suffer from a little bit of that oh, I need to get back to him. And I just do. And it's something I deal with on a constant basis, that need to really respond kind of thing. But on the other hand, if I don't want to do it that night with him, or if I'm just going on there, I don't feel bad for not getting back to him. And I don't feel like I owe him anything, because it's just sex.
Yeah.
It's friends with benefits. We've had sex several times and it was good. There was another guy that is in my building, and I just saw him in the gym the other day, and I smiled. I was like, who's that guy? And I was like, oh, right, we've hooked up a few different times, and he's I know, and he's really cute and sexy. Actually, I should probably smile a little back for more and reignite this, maybe. But I did notice that he would hit me up more often than I would hit him up. In fact, I never did. He always hit me up, and it was good, but I didn't, and I would feel guilty. So I guess my point is, and I do have one, is that I feel for this guy because I can feel that guilty thing, and that's on us. That's on this guy. That's on me. And we have to learn to deal with that a little bit better, because I do ultimately think, like you, Kodi, you don't owe anybody anything. What are your thoughts on this, Jeremy?
I totally think that he doesn't owe him anything, and I think if he wants to seek out like sleeping with other guys and stuff, then he should be able to do that. And I think that it also sounds like he's expressed his feelings to this specific person, and they don't seem like they are fully receptive to like progressing to the next step, or like progressive to commit to more. So I
Yeah.
say, then keep your options open, and don't inflict so much guilt on yourself for being a human being and wanting to jerk off or meet up with someone else. And I think, like Kodi said, just be aware of like your sexual health in general and keep him abreast of that. But other than that, I don't think that you should feel guilty for every single waking moment.
Yeah, and more I think about it and hearing all of our comments, fuck buddies can be a really amazing construct,
Mhm.
but it can also be a headache.
Mm.
In some ways, just no, really, because I think one of you ultimately, I think it's a relationship in some way, shape, or form,
Mhm.
right? And you guys feel comfortable with, texting one or the other and saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it one of you is ultimately probably going to be a little bit more into the situation than the other one is, and you really haven't discussed any parameters, right? So it's not a traditional boyfriend relationship. So it can get a little murky
Yeah.
at times, and sometimes I think, if for those like myself and the person writing it that I have anxiety for these kinds of things, not really for work and all that, but I have anxiety for these types of life, people things,
Mhm.
that it can bring up a lot more anxiety.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt anybody. And
What does our life coach on the panel say?
I,
That would be you, Kodi.
you know what? I don't even owe my boyfriend regular sex. Well, regular sex maybe, but I don't owe him sex. If I'm not in the mood to have sex with my boyfriend, I don't have sex with him. I don't owe him to tell him when I masturbate. I mean, if it comes up, it comes up, and I'll tell him. But I don't owe him anything like that. So for this guy to even think that he owes this other person that, he needs to explore what about this relationship is making him feel this way. I would really like to pick his brain on this, because it seems like Jeremy said, it seems like, what is this even for? Like, why? So, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Jeremy, could you have a fuck buddy, friends with benefit situation? Do you think you could handle it, and would you want one?
Yeah, I think I could, and I think it would be fun. It's nice to have someone that you feel comfortable with and sleep well with and can revisit. But I also think that it's always best to communicate just all of your feelings, and if anything comes up other than just like the sexual part.
Yeah, I think I could too. Wouldn't mind inviting one into my life again, but I could tell that if the more time you spend with somebody, because I'm one of those that after a few times of sleeping with somebody, then when we're in bed or it's the next morning and we're having coffee, I'm going to start asking you questions. I want to know life issues. And the more I learn about you, I'm going to either be more pulled towards you or away from you. And that could easily lead me to want to date you. And I have been in that situation before, and I even proposed to. I remember back in the day to, why aren't we dating? I told this guy, and he didn't want to date. And it kind of crushed me at the time because I was like, but we have such great sex. And I think that's what it was. It was just a fuck buddy situation for him. We ended up becoming friends, so it all worked out in the end. But at the time, I was crushed that he didn't want to go down that road. Hey boys, new year, and that means new sex rules. Start the year off right by manifesting a sex-positive 2022. Your buddies over here at TAGS have got you covered in helping you achieve your sex conundrums and relationship queries. Ask TAGS for advice. We love giving our thoughtful outlooks to our friends, you. So DM us at TAGSPodcast on Instagram or email us at TAGSPodcast.com. Let's make this year a sexually positive 2022. Okay, well, this next segment, we have a lot of things in the Grindr apps section. So many things came up. It all started when in our Discord chat, which you guys can also join. It's so much fun. We're all kind of popping in questions in there. And Jeremy, I'll send you the link so you can kind of chime in whenever you want to. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people are just asking questions or posting things whenever they want to, and people chime in. It's part of our Patreon community. One of our Jimmy posted that he is recently he deleted all of his apps because he was having no luck with them. And I asked him further before we went live on the show, well, were you looking for hookups or were you looking for like a boyfriend or both? And he said both. He said he had the hookup one and he did a specific one specifically for dating, and it was just going nowhere. So he's like, forget it, I'm done with it. And I think that's been a lot of the feeling in these next stories that are coming up. For example, on Queerty, they posted the story called 4 Grindr Dating Horror Stories That'll Keep You Up at Night. These are kind of scary. I'm only going to read you a couple of them, but one of them was really scary. Number 1, wouldn't it be strange if you disappeared tonight is what it's called. The first one, after a relatively nice dinner and movie, the young student found himself at his date's place. They talked about life in general, but the conversation took a sharp left after the Grindr guy found out our student works with literal dead people. So maybe he works like in a morgue or something, right? Here's how the heart-stopping conversation happened, according to Reddit. He proceeded to ask me if I was ever scared to go on dates. I, of course, said no. But then he stated asking pretty dark questions. What would happen if I died on this date? What would you do with my body? Would you hold me until the ambulance arrived?
Wait,
can I use cement to bury a body?
Ew.
What?
I pulled my pants up when he asked, wouldn't it be strange if you just disappeared tonight? Good for you. I'd be out the door and like
after that first question.
Then this one, Jeremy, I know you love Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my God.
Yes, exactly. His friend Larry met up with his Grindr date, let's call him George, after swapping pictures and memes, and they had a pretty lovely night together over dinner and a good heart-to-heart conversation. After learning that George had just split up with his ex-boyfriend, Larry found himself heating things up. They headed to George's apartment, and the clothes came straight off. But then they heard a commotion coming from outside the apartment. Their night of play was interrupted when George's actual boyfriend, not ex-colossal boyfriend, walked in on them, wielding scissors with a murderous look in his eye.
Oh my God.
The ex jumped on George, basically going for the jugular and screaming the entire way. Finally, Larry found an exit and made a beeline for it, completely buck naked.
No.
Okay, those are pretty scary ones. I'll post the rest of them on TAGSPodcast.com when this show comes out. But scary, Jeremy, have you ever had a horror story on a date? Maybe not this scary, but
I've had
at
actually
all?
one where I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but I had one where this so only I would like uh get really turned on by this guy knowing that like he broke up with his girlfriend and he just wants to cuddle and like have a sleepover with a gay guy, supposedly.
Oh,
Okay.
that
yeah,
that
right.
was that was what he wanted, and I might have like alluded to this before. So I go over, and he he locks the door. He has a dog. We hang out. We're like in underwear for a little bit, and then he shuts off the lights, and he like literally is ready for me to fuck him in fetal position. And I was like, but
Wow.
only in the like dark, like pitch black dark. And then he started like talking about, what if I like beat you up tonight?
No.
Like, what if I beat you up and then you were hurt and weren't able to leave, or like as if he held me captive or whatever. And this was when I was a little less thick and I was like a much more twinky,
Uh-huh.
and so I was like mortified and thinking like, I need to get the fuck out of here, and I don't know how to fight anyone. I'm not strong whatsoever. I was like just skin and bones and turned on by the situation, but that was like the deciding factor that I needed to get the fuck out of there. And so I casually talked it down out of that awkward ass conversation, and then was like, oh yeah, I need to go, my roommate needs something. Or like in New York, that's always a good excuse when you
Yeah.
live with a roommate. You're just like, oh, my roommate's locked out, they forgot their key, or they lost their Metro card, or whatever bullshit. And I got the fuck out of there. And that was when I was living in Hell's Kitchen. It
Uh-huh.
was like literally a neighbor that lived like 1 or 2 blocks away that I never had run into, because he lived like an avenue back from me.
Uh-huh.
And
Ugh.
it was like, it was hot all up until that. And he really just like creeped me out from saying that. And
Wow.
his seriousness of talking about it really made me think he could just turn a switch and be like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like it
Yeah.
seemed like it went from sexy and cutesy to like he was gonna actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things that can be hot like that fall into the BDSM category in many ways, but what the difference remaining is that the BDS community has rules
Mm-hmm.
and regulations that the two people involved decide on. Like what's That's why I love a good BDSM parties, and there's plenty of them around the country, world. And you can go to these play parties and you can get some of the things. You can get spanked and you can get dom subbed and all these really great things that you want to explore, but in a safe environment that you're
Right.
not ultimately worried for your life. And I think sometimes, I get it too, because I've been in the situation too where I brought somebody home. It wasn't off of one of the apps, but it was at a bar, and I brought them home, and it was a Dom sub situation. And I quickly realized, as he was in my living situation, that his Dom was a little bit darker and a little bit more forceful
Mm-hmm.
than I was ready for. And it seemed scary to me that I was worried for my life. And I had to really work to get him out of the place because I really felt unsafe. And
Yeah.
what was kind of going to be sexy and hot turned into I'm uncomfortable. And he wasn't getting that fact, even if when I was telling him, and I didn't know how, I didn't know this guy from Adam,
Yeah.
right? And so I think, you got to be you got to have a little street smarts. You got to be a little bit like savvy with some of this stuff. And when you do feel uncomfortable, trust that instinct. The first one is my recommendation on this, because it can often lead to horrible situations. And well, Kodi, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think I'm doing Grindr wrong because I've never had any of this happen to me before. My mouth is on the ground. I can't believe this. I've never had
Pick
anybody.
it up.
Now I got a whole boyfriend. Maybe we should do some role play like this. But
Yeah.
that's the only. I've never had this happen to me before. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
None of this. Okay. Yeah. None of this have you've ever experienced
No,
or
I've
had
never.
any. What's your worst Grindr hookup story?
Well, my worst Grindr hookup story is when I went to the guy's house and we clearly were not like our pictures were nice to one another in the moment, but then when I got over there, clearly there were no sparks. There was nothing that we were going to do with one another. And he was like, "So I think you should just go now." And I was like, "I think so too." And I turned around and I walked out the door. But I've never.
Well, what about the one that wanted to film you?
Oh, that guy. Well, that's a whole different situation because.
But it's okay.
Because I didn't feel unsafe. I just felt like
Exposed
because I went to his house and he was so hot and I wish I could have gotten it up, but I went over to his house and he wanted to film me for his boyfriend and I guess share the video with his boyfriend of me fucking him, but I could not. I'm very uncomfortable.
That's a little twisted though.
It is, but I didn't feel unsafe in the situation. You
don't know what that boyfriend was going to do when he saw the video, though. You probably made the right decision for not filming.
It's
you
true.
know, you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know. He could have told you that. Oh, my boyfriend thinks this is so hot. He just likes to know who I'm fucking. Meanwhile, it's revenge porn.
Oh my God! You know what
it.
is so funny too? I just watched a movie last night that is all about
What's
this.
it called?
It's called Deep Water with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
And
oh my God, I want to watch that. It looks really good.
So good. It's like one of the best sexy movies I've watched recently.
They say Fatal Attraction of today.
Yes, and it's all about like sex in a relationship when someone's doing shady shit on the side and he's really good in
so Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, basically, right?
Yeah. No, Ben Affleck is very, very good at acting in this, and it's like it was a really good movie. It's sexy, and the woman is beautiful in it.
I just saw the previews, and it said the new Fatal Attraction, and who doesn't love the Fatal Attraction? So if you're saying it's like, I'm all for it. I want to watch this.
Yeah,
good. Thank you for that pick.
Okay. And it's all about like this whole mysterious dark side of sex. Like the whole movie is about that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you think J-Lo got jealous?
I'm sure she did. It's hot. It's hot and the girl is beautiful and she's naked and yeah, it's juicy.
Oh my God. Okay, good recommendation. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this next thing. Would life be better if Grindr didn't allow you to take screenshots? So apparently Grindr has been trending on Twitter over the last 24 hours as people discuss the subject of screenshots. Mm-hmm. To support privacy, Grindr and other apps allow people to send photos that disappear after a few seconds. Mm-hmm. And actually, Kodi, you told me this thing you can even do on a text too, right? Yep. Where it'll just disappear.
Invisible ink.
Which I still don't understand it, but you're going to have to really come over here and help me out. Okay, yeah. Which I love this concept, but on some apps nowadays, it's not possible to take screenshots of these photos. One Twitter user wondered whether it would be better if Grindr and Scruff fully disabled the ability for users to take screenshots. How would they do that, though, Kodi? Because don't you just press two buttons on your phone and you can screen capture stuff?
Yeah, but there is a way that they can program
on their end.
Yeah, it's a back of house thing to where it would just show. It would maybe show
blurred,
like either blurry or it would show the Scruff logo. Because I've tried to take screen captures of like Amazon Prime or something like that, but it would just show the Amazon Prime logo, like just not to sell anything, because I'm not trying to pirate anything, just to like, because I thought it was a really funny moment and I wanted to send it to my friends. But it was just the Amazon Prime logo. So there are ways to do it, yes.
Well, I know many people are probably thinking that people are just doing photos of the people, but some supporters of the idea talked of how so many people now post Grindr chats
I
to
love that.
platforms such as Twitter. We've had listeners chime in and say, oh, there's a whole community on Facebook, worst experiences you've had on those apps, and they post some of these things, sometimes earning themselves viral fame in the process. Others said it was an abuse of trust. And then other people say taking screenshots of people has also led to people like is it catfishing?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, right, where like yourself, Kodi, they used your picture and posted it. I mean, I don't know. Do you think Jeremy, there should be a rule against this, or should you just be accountable on what you say and stand by it? And I kind of don't care if somebody screen captured something that I said. I'm getting more savvy with this nowadays. I don't just share pictures willy-nilly anymore, because I know it's going to get out there. When someone
Yeah,
asks me,
I think you're when you're putting yourself out there and you're using anything on social media and on Grindr and apps and stuff, I think you have to always have in the back of your head there's a possibility that it could get somewhere else. And the one feature that I do think is great is the disappearing photo feature. So Grindr allows you to send photos that people can't look at multiple times. So you can send it and then it disappears and they can't look at it again, but I think they do still have the capacity to screenshot it if they were to. And so I think it's all just something to think about.
I agree. I feel like now, in the past, my answer probably would have been different. I would have been like, yeah, no, don't allow this. Now I feel, no, be accountable for what you put out there. I've actually posted being angry. This is not related to like the apps, but say Twitter. Somebody says something on a political thing, and I'm firing back on Twitter.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, I'll keep up what I post there. But there's been a couple times where I rethought it. I'm like, oh, do you really want that out there on what you just said? And I delete it, because not that I have the following of like, Kim Kardashian or people like that, but still I have a following. And so I've changed my mind and rethought, be careful what you put out there. It lives out there. Kodi, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that as long as you're protecting people's anonymity and you're not outing anybody, then I don't see a problem with screen capturing a conversation that you think went awry and that you think is hilarious. I think it's entertainment, and I think that as long as you're not harming anybody, then why not put it out there? And also it could be a teachable moment, now that I think of it, because it could teach somebody else how to not fall into that same trap that was set by these other people. So yeah, I'm all here for the screen capturing of the conversations, but as Jeremy was saying, with the disappearing pictures, if they put it to where, if Grindr put it to where if you send a disappearing picture, you can't screen grab it, that would be amazing. I think that would solve everything, because if you send a picture that didn't disappear, then that means that you don't mind it being out into the world. But if you send it and it did disappear, then that means that you don't want somebody to be able to take that picture and put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm so for this new things. I don't want to put anything out there that I don't want living on somebody else's computer, although you don't have a lot of control over that, and it is what it is. But I'm here for it. Just know what you're saying and stand by it. And if it's going to be captured, also, yes, it can be a teachable moment. I like what you said on that, Kodi, but it also could be used in a court of law. Let's just say somebody was really threatening somebody, and this was one of the clues that led up to an ultimate.
See?
You might need this information. And if you didn't have that, and no, really look at the trail that they left. I mean, I think we've all been watching too many Netflix TV, binging too much.
What is the movie called? Deep Water?
Deep water, y'all. Okay. But I just stand by what you say. And if you don't want it to be screen captured, then don't say it. That's as easy as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that brings us to our poll question of the week. Last week, we asked the question, if you agree to exchange nudes, is it bad etiquette to change your mind once the agreement is made? Half of you said yes. One of you, a small percentage said no, and some of you said depends. So
depends.
Okay, kind of mixed bag on that one. This week, I know. I told people to put it from now on. Put if in the comment section what you mean by that. This week we are asking the question: do you still believe you can meet Mr. Right or Mr. Right now on the apps? Answer our poll question of the week. Go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast and we'll report on the results next week. This Wednesday, by the way, we're live again, of course, for Tags Live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time for Tags Live with Kodi and myself. Join us. The easiest way to find out to get to us is just to go to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags Live. All right. Well, you can always follow my co-host, Jeremy. Follow him on Instagram at JRossLopez. JRossLopez. Follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching or at Mr. Maurice. And follow us on the TikTok at Tags Podcast. Thanks, guys. So much fun.
Thank you.
Always.
In the meantime, you guys continue having hot gay sex.
Don't sleep on the newest innovations in wellness, or maybe do. Introducing Force Factor's Somnipure. Only at the Vitamin Shoppe, the new Somnipure line of drug-free sleep aids includes a muscle recovery formula to help you relieve sore muscles and improve sleep quality. Plus, for the first time ever at the Vitamin Shoppe, an easy-to-drink, fast-acting liquid solution with melatonin and natural botanicals to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling refreshed. Sleep stronger with Somnipure at vitaminshoppe.com or the Vitamin Shoppe store near you.